Welcome to Terrifying Tales, where we delve into the darkest corners of human psyche. We'll take you to a world where benign turns malevolent and ordinary becomes extraordinary. A journey into the unknown awaits you. Brave souls, to the beginning of your darkest nightmares. Welcome to the chilling tale of an ordinary night turned into an extraordinary horror. Imagine a world as you know it, a seemingly mundane existence, where the setting sun gives way to a tranquil night, where the twinkling stars are the only spectators to the symphony of life below, the moon a celestial sentinel casting its silvery glow, painting the world in hues of tranquility. A soft breeze whispers through the trees, carrying with it the sweet scent of life, a soothing lullaby for the weary. The night, a sanctuary for the dreamers and the romantics, a muse for the poets and the artists. Now imagine that sanctuary violated, the tranquility shattered, and the dreamers plunged into a nightmare. The moon, once a beacon of hope, now a grim spectator to a tale of terror. The stars, those silent sentinels of the sky, now bear witness to a horror story that unfolds beneath. The breeze, once a gentle caress, now a harbinger of fear and dread. The night, once a realm of dreams and fantasies, now a stage for a spine-chilling spectacle. As the darkness deepens, an unseen menace begins to stir, a malevolent force that lurks in the shadows. The air grows heavy with a sense of impending doom, each passing moment a step closer to a horror that defies imagination. The familiar transforms into the unfamiliar, the benign turns malevolent, and the ordinary morphs into the extraordinary. This is no ordinary night, my friends. This is the night it began. Brace yourselves, for you are about to embark on a journey into the heart of darkness, a journey from which you may never return the same. Let's dive into the tale that will make your blood run cold and your heart pound with terror. Welcome, brave souls, to the night of horror. What if you were engulfed by pure malevolence and survived to recount the horror? Picture this, a night. No ordinary night, but an abysmal one where each tick of the clock was an eternity of fear. The air was stagnant, a paralyzing silence hanging thickly, as if the universe itself had ceased to breathe. The atmosphere heavy with the palpable dread that lurked in the shadows. The quietude was almost suffocating, a silence so deafening it cast an icy shroud over your soul, causing your heart to thunder within your chest. The obsidian sky above was an endless void of emptiness, each star a lonely spark of hope in a devouring darkness. Even the faint murmur of the wind seemed like a terrifying roar. It reverberated through the void, a ghostly moan that ruffled the feathers of terror within me. The wind, a volatile beast of nature, muttered its cryptic omens that seemed to get lost in translation from the tongue of the immortals to us mere mortals. The sound, a chilling dirge, was an ever-present reminder of the isolation that the night imposed. The streetlights flickered menacingly, casting long, sinister shadows that gyrated and staged a mind-bending theatre. Each flicker felt like the ominous thud of a death knell, a rhythmic pause in the engulfing darkness, a moribund light in the seemingly infinite night. These weren't just ordinary shadows. They were fiendish tricksters. They contorted, they twirled, they pirouetted, their motions erratic and elusive. The shadows were the demonic marionettes, masterfully manipulated by the flickering streetlights, their stage the desolate, forsaken street that stretched out before me. The shadows, however, were not alone. They had co-conspirators. The monoliths flanking the street were the puppeteers. The edifices loomed ominously, their dark silhouettes forming a cacophony of menacing forms against the midnight backdrop. Their windows, hollow and seemingly watching, mirrored the dying lights and added a new layer of horror to the shadow spectacle. An icy dread crawled over me, a torrent of fear that raised goosebumps on my flesh. It was an overpowering sensation, the kind that knots your stomach and makes your skin crawl with cold perspiration. The night seemed to be clenching its jaws, waiting for something monstrous. The thought sent a shudder spiraling down my spine, igniting a wildfire of terror within me. Eerie phenomena perturbed me, yet I shrugged them off, attributing them to an overactive imagination. The rustling leaves, the groaning branches, the sudden chill in the air, silence. Were they merely figments of my overactive imagination, or were they harbingers, portents of the abomination that lay in wait? I chose to ignore them, suppressing the feelings of unease that threatened to rise, oblivious to the time bomb of terror that I was unwittingly nurturing. However, in the deepest corners of my mind, I couldn't shake off the nauseating feeling of impending doom. It felt like I was teetering on a razor's edge, my sanity precariously balanced on a fragile thread, just a heartbeat away from plunging into a chasm of unspeakable horror. Yet, in the face of such paralyzing fear and uncertainty, I trudged on, a solitary soldier against the malevolent night. I was oblivious to the fact that this was merely the preamble to my nightmare. A spectre lurked in the murk, a monstrous silhouette that injected dread into each of my waking seconds. This was the phantom-like embodiment of terror that had insidiously seeped into my existence. This spectre, garbed in the guise of a man, was a chilling perversion of humanity, manifesting a nightmarish demeanour that caused icy tendrils of horror to gnash down my spine, leading to a spine-freezing epiphany. Always there, a malevolent wraith, its existence becoming the very marrow of my thoughts. The image he presented was a spectral stain on my vision, a pitch-black smear that stained the daylight. He was a relentless invader of my consciousness, his presence a blood-curdling testament to my horrifying existence. His eyes, frigid voids of emotion, lurked beneath the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat, twin abysses that stripped bare my soul, scrutinizing my deepest anxieties with an ease that was nightmarish. These were portals into a world bereft of humanity, a world as incomprehensible as it was bone-chilling. The intensity of his gaze felt like a merciless dissection of my psyche, a ruthless invasion leaving me feeling defiled. Our harrowing encounters only exacerbated my torment. His voice, a resonant death rattle that echoed within my very soul, was an orchestra of terror that stalked the vacant corridors of my mind. Every utterance was a bone-chilling elegy that resonated, a petrifying symphony. Every sentence was a crescendo of horror that echoed mercilessly through my psyche, a haunting refrain that pulsed in sync with my panic-stricken heart. The sparse, icy exchanges were more than mere words. They were a chilling foray into my darkest terrors. Each sentence was a revelation of horror, a confirmation of my deepest dreads. His words were like an unholy waltz with death, leaving an indelible mark of terror on my psyche. A constant spectre amidst the shadows of my consciousness, a grim testament to my impending damnation. In those petrifying moments, I began to comprehend the true monstrosity of the entity I was entangled with. More than just a man, he was, in fact, a harbinger of death, a serial predator who had claimed countless lives with a chilling indifference, a creature whose mere mention sent shivers of dread rippling through our peaceful town. Sinister legacy loomed, a Stygian cloud of horror that shrouded his presence. The chilling echoes of his past barbarities hung thick in the air around him, a smothering veil of dread that strangled the very atmosphere. The revelation was cataclysmic. That had been skirting the edge of my consciousness, the nagging suspicions that gnawed at my soul, the dread that whispered in the darkest recesses of my mind. It all coalesced into a terrifying clarity. He wasn't a mere figment of a hyperactive imagination. He was a notorious serial killer. His reign of terror had eviscerated our serene town, leaving a wake of unmitigated horror behind. The jarring reality sent shockwaves through me. The creature I had been unwittingly parleying with, the monster who had usurped my thoughts, was an unrepentant butcher. I was the trembling prey in a predator's game, an unwitting victim in his macabre plot. The dread-filled encounter was merely an overture to the symphony of horror about to commence. I stood teetering on the brink of a horrifying abyss, the knowledge of his true nature tipping me into the void. The road ahead was shrouded in darkness, a path veiled in unmitigated terror. Thus began the terrifying overture to a symphony of horror yet to unfold. I was a mouse, trapped in the cat's deadly game, a contest of survival and demise. I survived, but how? These words reverberate through the icy darkness, a chilling truth that could turn one's blood to ice. They only hint at the horror, the unspeakable dread, the immobilizing fear that shrouded me during those nightmare-filled days. I was an innocent victim, thrown into a horrifying game more sinister than the darkest chasm. A man, the predator, who found grotesque pleasure in his ghastly acts, had marked me as his next victim. I was selected not for any wrongdoing, but simply for being at the wrong place and wrong, ominous moment. His eyes, as hollow and lifeless as the gleaming edge of a butcher's knife, fixated on me across the room filled with people. In that fragment of time, a heartbeat captured in time, I comprehended the horrifying reality. I was his next prey. I was the mouse, and he the cat, ready to commence his twisted game. The game was ruthless, a chilling dance of wits and courage, where each breath was a move in his relentless pursuit. I was constantly on the run, a ghost in the shadows, slithering through the narrow, gloomy alleyways, always a whisper away from the icy, deadly grasp of the serial killer. Each gasp was a desperate struggle against death. Every heartbeat was a poignant reminder of the existence that dangled precariously on a thread. Somehow, I survived. Armed with a fierce determination to exist, I escaped his lethal grip. The wave of relief that washed over me was like a colossal wave crashing against an uneven cliff. It was a moment of raw, ecstatic relief, but tainted with a lingering taste of horror. The fear, my ceaseless companion during those terrifying days, had left a permanent mark. A paranoia that continued to stalk me like a ghost refusing to loosen its icy grip. It felt like frosty eyes were still penetrating the back of my skull, like the ghost of the bloodthirsty beast was still hiding in my shadows. Every waking moment was marred by the recollections of those dreadful days. The concept of sleep filled me with dread, for it could awaken the nightmares tucked away in the dark corners of my mind. The ordeal left me with scars carved deep. They melded with my soul. They served as constant reminders of my lethal encounter with death, casting gloomy shadows over the remnants of joy and happiness in my life. They were the chilling imprints left by the dance with death, visible only to me, a chilling reminder of the terror I had survived. I had outsmarted death, but the memory of that ordeal clung to me like a second skin. Every face in the crowd was a potential beast, every noise a potential signal of impending catastrophe. Catastrophe. The world had lost its innocence, replaced by a crippling fear of the unknown. Surviving was only the start. Living with the memory, that horror, that's the real challenge. The words linger ominously in the air, like the haunting echo of a funeral hymn. They stand as a grim reminder of the journey I've begun, a testament to the courage I've showcased, and a chilling prediction of the battles I've yet to face. This is where the chapter, Survival and Aftermath, draws to a close. Scars are strange things. They never fade. They merely dull with time, like an old photograph losing its colour. The voice offers a sombre reflection, setting the tone for the scene. The camera pans over a bustling cityscape, showing life moving on, indifferent and uncaring of individual struggles. The struggle to move on, to live with the memory of that night, was a battle in itself. Every day was a fight to keep the demons at bay, to not let the past consume me. Every moment was a test of my resilience, my will to survive. The voiceover continues, with shots of the character moving through the city, a solitary figure amidst the chaotic dance of life. But amidst the struggle, I realized something. I was stronger than I thought. I had faced my worst fear, stared death in the face, and survived. I had more resilience, more fight within me than I had ever imagined. The voiceover imbues a sense of hope, of a newfound strength, as shots show the character standing tall, looking out over the city with a determined gaze. I accepted that the past was a part of me, a part of my journey, but it did not define me. I was not just a victim, not just a survivor. I was more than that. I was a fighter, a warrior who had battled the darkest of evils and emerged victorious. The voiceover grows more upbeat, more hopeful as shots show the character engaging with life again, laughing with friends, enjoying the simple pleasures of life. The night of horror ended, but its memory lingers, yet I stand strong, a survivor who has learned to live with the scars, to turn them into symbols of strength, of resilience. I am not defined by my past, but by how I rise from it. I am a survivor, but more importantly, I am alive. The voiceover concludes on a hopeful note, the camera pulling back to show the character standing on a rooftop looking out over the city a beacon of hope and resilience against the setting sun. We hope you enjoyed this chilling tale. The voiceover begins, the tone shifting from the somber reflection of the previous scene to a more engaging, conversational one. If you're craving more terrifying tales, remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of suspense. The voiceover suggests with a hint of an eerie smile. If this video sent chills down your spine, show us your appreciation by hitting that like button. The voiceover continues, the tone playful yet encouraging. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you see the twist coming? How did you feel about the protagonist's journey? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The voiceover invites, fostering a sense of community and interaction. As always, stay tuned for more terrifying tales. Until next time, keep the lights on and the monsters at bay. The voiceover concludes, leaving the viewers with a hint of anticipation for what's to come, the screen gradually fading to black.